Captain HFY stood on the bridge of the Galactic Council patrol ship, Starlight Sentinel. Her eyes were fixed on a large view screen in front of her. The ship was flying through a quiet part of space, near the edge of human territory. It was supposed to be a routine patrol, but something felt off. "Captain, I'm picking up a strange reading," said Ensign Dong Hyun from his station. His voice was filled with confusion. HFY walked over to look at his screen. "What kind of reading, Ensign?" "I'm not sure, Captain. It's big, really big, and it's not matching any known ship types in our database." HFY's heart began to race. In her 15 years of service to the Galactic Council, she had never encountered an unknown ship of this size. "Can you get a visual?" "Working on it, Captain," Dong Hyun replied, his fingers flying over the controls. The main view screen flickered and then showed a distant object. At first, it looked like a small dot, but as the ship's advanced cameras zoomed in, the dot grew larger and larger. Gasps echoed around the bridge as the full image came into view. It was a warship, unlike anything they had ever seen before. Its hull was dark and sleek, covered in strange markings. Massive weapon ports lined its sides, and its size dwarfed their patrol ship. "By the stars," whispered Lieutenant Sun Mai, the ship's second-in-command. "What is that thing?" HFY's mind was racing. This ship was clearly built for war, but who built it? And why was it here, so close to human space? The humans were supposed to be a young, relatively harmless species. They weren't supposed to have technology like this. "Run a full scan," HFY ordered. "I want to know everything about that ship." The crew worked quickly, their hands shaking slightly as they carried out their tasks. The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut with a knife. After a few minutes, Dong Hyun spoke up again. "Captain, you're not going to believe this. The ship, it's of human origin." HFY felt like she had been punched in the stomach. "Human? Are you sure?" "Yes, Captain. The markings on the hull are in Earth languages, and the energy signature. It's like nothing we've seen before, but it's definitely coming from human technology." HFY took a deep breath. This was bad. Very bad. The humans weren't supposed to have this kind of technology. They were centuries behind the other species in the Galactic Council, or at least that's what everyone thought. "Has it detected us?" HFY asked. Sun Mai checked her readings. "I don't think so, Captain. They don't seem to have changed course or powered up any weapons." HFY nodded. "Good. Let's keep it that way. Power down all non-essential systems. We need to stay hidden until we figure out what's going on." As the crew carried out her orders, HFY walked back to her chair and sat down heavily. She knew what she had to do next, but she didn't like it one bit. "Lieutenant Sun Mai, prepare a encrypted message to Galactic Council headquarters. Priority 1. Sun Mai's eyes widened. Priority 1 messages were reserved for the most serious situations. "Yes, Captain. What should the message say?" HFY took another deep breath. "Tell them we've discovered a massive human warship on the edge of their territory. Technology far beyond what they're supposed to have. Estimated size. Give them our best guess based on the scans. And tell them we're dealing with a potential threat to galactic peace." As Sun Mai typed out the message, HFY turned back to the view screen. The human warship loomed large, a dark shadow against the starry background. She couldn't help but wonder what this meant for the future of the galaxy. Would this lead to war, or was this just a misunderstanding? Either way, HFY knew that nothing would be the same after today. The humans had just changed the game, and now the Galactic Council would have to figure out how to respond. As the encrypted message was sent out into space, racing towards the Council headquarters, HFY settled in for a long wait. Whatever happened next, she and her crew would be ready. They had to be. The peace of the entire galaxy might depend on it. High Counselor Sung Min sat in his office, staring at the report in his hands. His face was pale, and his hands shook slightly. He had read the message from Captain Jawa 3 times now, but he still couldn't believe it. A human warship, bigger and more advanced than anything the Galactic Council had. It seemed impossible. Sung Min pressed a button on his desk. "Call an emergency meeting of the Council," he said to his assistant. Now, within an hour, the Council chamber was filled with representatives from every major species in the galaxy. The room buzzed with nervous chatter. Nobody knew why they had been called, but they could sense something was very wrong. Sung Min walked to the center of the room. The chamber fell silent. "My fellow council members," he began, his voice grave, "I have called you here because we face a crisis. A Galactic Council patrol ship has discovered a massive human warship near the edge of Earth's territory." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Sung Min held up his hand for silence. "The ship is far more advanced than anything we thought the humans capable of building. Its size and weaponry suggest it could be a serious threat to our peace." The Zarthon representative, a tall blue-skinned being named Kale, stood up. "How is this possible? The humans are primitives. They've barely left their own solar system, apparently." Sung Min replied, "We were wrong about them." The chamber erupted into chaos. Everyone was talking at once, their voices filled with fear and anger. "We must destroy this ship at once," shouted Grix, the Volturian representative. His reptilian eyes glowed with anger. "No," cried Lyra, the peaceful Aetherian. "We cannot attack without provocation. It would be against everything the Council stands for." Some men struggled to regain control of the meeting. "Please, everyone, we need to think this through carefully." Finally, after several minutes, the room quieted down. Sung Min took a deep breath. "We have several issues to consider," he said. "First, how did the humans build this ship without our knowledge? Second, what are their intentions? And third, how should we respond?" Mira, the wise Centaurian elder, spoke up. "Perhaps we should try to communicate with the humans first. Find out why they built this ship, and risk them attacking us." Grix hissed, "We should strike first, while we have the advantage of surprise." The debate raged on for hours. Some council members wanted immediate action against Earth. Others argued for caution and diplomacy. The fear in the room was almost tangible. As the arguments continued, Sung Min's mind raced. He thought about everything the council knew about humans. They were a young species, barely 1,000 years into space travel. Their technology was supposed to be centuries behind the rest of the galaxy. But now, it seemed, they had been hiding their true capabilities, or perhaps they had made a sudden, massive leap forward. Either way, it changed everything. "What if," Sung Min said, his voice cutting through the noise, "what if this is just the beginning? What if the humans have more ships like this?" The room fell silent once again as everyone considered this terrifying possibility. Lyra spoke up, her voice soft but firm. "We need more information. We cannot make a decision based on fear and speculation." Sung Min nodded. "You're right. We need to send a diplomatic mission to Earth. We need to talk to them, find out what's going on." "And if they refuse to talk?" Kale asked. "Then," Sung Min said grimly, "we'll have to consider other options." The council members looked at each other nervously. They all knew what other options meant. As the meeting came to an end, Sung Min felt the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders. The decisions they made in the coming days could mean the difference between peace and war. He looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, a human warship was waiting, and the future of the galaxy hung in the balance. As the council members filed out of the chamber, Sung Min knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The humans had changed the game, and now the Galactic Council had to figure out how to play it. The next few days would be crucial. They had to tread carefully, or risk plunging the galaxy into a war unlike anything they had ever seen before. The Galactic Council headquarters was in a state of high alert. News of the human warship had spread, and everyone was on edge. Security had been doubled, and nervous whispers filled the halls. In the main docking bay, High Counselor Sung Min stood with a group of council members. They were waiting for the arrival of the human ambassador. "Do you think they'll tell us the truth?" asked Kale, the blue-skinned Zarthon representative. Sung Min sighed. "I hope so, but we must be prepared for anything." A sleek silver ship appeared in the distance, growing larger as it approached. It was much smaller than the warship they had discovered, but it still looked more advanced than they had expected. The ship landed smoothly in the docking bay. There was a moment of tense silence as everyone waited. Then, with a soft hiss, the ship's door opened. A figure stepped out, and the council members couldn't help but gasp. The human ambassador was a woman of average height with dark hair and eyes that seemed to shine with intelligence. She wore a simple but elegant suit, and she carried herself with confidence. "Greetings," she said, her voice clear and strong. "I am Ambassador Hai Jin of Earth. I come in peace and with hopes of clearing up this misunderstanding." Sung Min stepped forward. "Welcome, Ambassador Hai Jin. I am High Counselor Sung Min. We have much to discuss." As they walked to the council chamber, Hai Jin could feel the stares of the alien beings around her. Some looked curious, others fearful, and a few seemed angry. In the council chamber, Hai Jin took her place at the center of the room. The council members sat in a circle around her, their faces serious. Sung Min spoke first. "Ambassador, we have discovered a massive warship of human origin near the edge of your territory. Can you explain this?" Hai Jin nodded. "Yes, High Counselor. The ship you discovered is called the Earth's Guardian. It is a defensive vessel built to protect our planet and our colonies." Murmurs filled the room. Grix, the Volturian representative, stood up. "Defensive? It's the size of a small moon and armed to the teeth. How can you call that defensive?" Hai Jin turned to face him. "With all due respect, we humans have a saying. The best defense is a good offense. We built the Guardian to ensure our safety in a vast and sometimes dangerous galaxy. But why keep it secret?" asked Lyra, the Aetherian. "Why not tell the council about it?" Hai Jin's face softened slightly. "We meant no deception. But surely you can understand our caution. We are a young species in galactic terms. We needed to ensure we could protect ourselves if necessary." The room erupted into arguments. Some council members accused the humans of preparing for war. Others demanded to know more about the ship's capabilities. Through it all, Hai Jin remained calm. She answered questions as best she could, always emphasizing that Earth's intentions were peaceful. As the debate raged on, Sung Min watched the human ambassador closely. He couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't telling them everything. "Ambassador," he said, cutting through the noise, "we appreciate your explanations, but we must insist on inspecting this ship to ensure it truly is defensive." Hai Jin hesitated for a moment. Then she nodded. "I understand your concerns. I will need to consult with my government, but I believe we can arrange an inspection." The tension in the room eased slightly, but suspicion remained thick in the air. As the meeting came to an end, Hai Jin made one last statement. "I want to assure you all that Earth has no hostile intentions. We seek only peace and cooperation with the galactic community." Some council members nodded, while others looked skeptical. As Hai Jin left the chamber, Sung Min turned to his fellow council members. "We must proceed carefully. The inspection of the human ship will be crucial." The council agreed. They would send their best team to inspect the Earth's Guardian. The fate of galactic peace might depend on what they found. As night fell on the Galactic Council headquarters, no one could shake the feeling that they were standing on the brink of a new era. Whether it would be an era of peace or conflict remained to be seen. Chief Inspector Taeyong stood at the viewport of the Galactic Council shuttle, his eyes fixed on the massive shape growing larger before them. The human warship, Earth's Guardian, loomed in space, its dark hull reflecting the light of distant stars. "It's even bigger up close," muttered his assistant, Jin Ho, nervously adjusting his uniform. Taeyong nodded silently. He had been chosen to lead the inspection team, and he felt the weight of the entire galaxy on his shoulders. What they discovered today could determine the future of galactic peace. As their shuttle approached the warship, a voice crackled over the comm system. "Galactic Council Shuttle, this is Captain Kita of the Earth's Guardian. You are cleared for docking in Bay 3. The shuttle glided into the massive docking bay, seeming tiny compared to the warship's bulk. As the doors closed behind them, Taeyong took a deep breath. "Remember," he said to his team, "we're here to inspect, not to judge. Stay calm and observe everything." The airlock hissed open, and they stepped onto the deck of Earth's Guardian. Captain Kita was waiting for them, flanked by 2 officers. He was a tall man with a stern face, but his eyes were alert and intelligent. "Welcome aboard," Kita said, his voice deep and measured. "We're ready to begin the tour whenever you are." Taeyong nodded. "Thank you, Captain. We'd like to start with the bridge, if possible." As they walked through the ship's corridors, Taeyong and his team were amazed by what they saw. The technology was far more advanced than they had expected. Holographic displays lined the walls, showing ship systems and star charts. Crew members moved about efficiently, their uniforms crisp and professional. On the bridge, Taeyong's eyes widened. The command center was a marvel of technology, with a central holographic display showing a 3D map of the surrounding space. "This is impressive," Taeyong said, trying to keep his voice neutral. Captain Kita allowed a small smile. "Thank you. We're quite proud of her." As the tour continued, they'd visited the engine room, where massive reactors hummed with power. The weapons control center was next, filled with complex targeting systems and banks of controls. "These weapon systems," Taeyong said carefully, "they seem quite extensive for a defensive vessel." Kita's face remained impassive. "As your council has seen, the galaxy can be a dangerous place. We believe in being prepared." Throughout the tour, Taeyong noticed something odd. While the ship was undoubtedly powerful, there were areas they weren't shown, doors that remained closed. "Captain," he said as they passed another locked door, "what's in these restricted areas?" Kita's expression didn't change. "I'm afraid those areas contain classified technology. For security reasons, we can't allow access." Taeyong frowned but didn't press the issue. He made a mental note to include it in his report. As the tour neared its end, they visited one last area, the crew quarters and recreation facilities. Here, Taeyong was surprised to see families, children playing in a garden area, couples walking together. "You have families on board a warship?" Jinho asked, surprised. Kita nodded. "The Guardian isn't just a warship. It's a home for thousands of our people, a symbol of our commitment to exploring and protecting our interests in space." As they made their way back to the shuttle, Taeyong's mind was racing. The ship was more powerful than they had imagined, but also more human than he had expected. Back on the shuttle, as they departed from Earth's Guardian, Taeyong turned to his team. "Thoughts?" he asked. Jinho spoke first. "It's an incredible ship, sir. But those restricted areas, what are they hiding?" Another team member, Su Yan, added, "The technology is far beyond what we thought humans capable of. How did they advance so quickly?" Taeyong nodded, looking out at the massive warship one last time. "All good questions, and ones the Council will want answers to." As they flew back to Galactic Council headquarters, Taeyong began mentally composing his report. He knew that whatever he wrote would have far-reaching consequences for human-galactic relations. The inspection was over, but Taeyong couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger story. As Earth's Guardian disappeared from view, he wondered what the future would hold for humans and the rest of the galaxy. The Galactic Council chamber was silent as Chief Inspector Taeyong finished his report. The faces of the council members showed a mix of awe, fear, and confusion. High Counselor Sung Min spoke first. "Thank you, Chief Inspector. Your report is troubling. Ambassador Hai-Jin, do you have anything to add? Ambassador Hai-Jin stood, her face calm but her eyes intense. Yes, High Counselor. I believe it's time we shared the full truth about Earth's guardian and our history. A murmur ran through the chamber. Hai-Jin took a deep breath and began to speak. To understand why we built the Guardian, you need to understand Earth's history. For thousands of years, humans fought each other. We had countless wars, big and small. We nearly destroyed ourselves more than once. Images appeared on the chamber screens, showing scenes of Earth's wars. The council members watched in shock as they saw the destruction humans had caused to their own planet and people. Hai-Jin continued, when we finally reached the stars, we carried this history with us. We hoped for peace, but we feared war. We knew that if there was intelligent life out there, it might not all be friendly. She paused, looking around the room. So we prepared. We built ships like the Guardian not because we want war, but because we never want to be helpless victims again. The chamber erupted in voices. Some council members shouted accusations, while others asked questions rapid fire. Some men called for order, and slowly the noise died down. Grix, the Volturian representative, spoke up. But how did you advance so quickly? Your technology is far beyond what we thought possible for your species. Hai-Jin smiled sadly. Fear and necessity are powerful motivators. When we realized how vast and potentially dangerous the galaxy was, we poured all our resources into defense and space technology. We made breakthroughs that surprised even us. Lyra, the peaceful Aetherian, asked softly, but why keep it secret? Why not share your advancements with the galactic community? We were afraid, Hai-Jin admitted. Afraid that if we showed our true capabilities, we might be seen as a threat. We wanted to establish peaceful relations first, to show that we could be trusted. As the council members digested this information, Captain Kite's face appeared on the main screen. He had been listening from the Guardian. Council members, he said, his voice firm, I want to show you something we kept hidden during the inspection. The screen changed to show a large room filled with strange devices. This is our faster-than-light communication center, Kite explained. With it, we can send messages across the galaxy almost instantly. Gasps filled the chamber. FTL communication was something even the most advanced council races were still working on. We're willing to share this technology, Hai-Jin said quickly. And others, we don't want to fight. We want to work together to make the galaxy safer for everyone. The council chamber fell silent again as everyone considered the implications. Humans, it seemed, were far more advanced and far more complex than anyone had realized. Some men stood up slowly. Ambassador, Captain, thank you for your honesty. I believe we have much to discuss. He turned to the council. We face a choice. We can treat humanity as a threat and risk a war that could devastate the galaxy, or we can embrace them as allies, benefiting from their unique perspective and advancements. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some council members argued for caution, others for immediate alliance. Through it all, Hai-Jin and Kite answered questions, explaining Earth's history and hopes for the future. As the day ended, no final decision had been reached, but there was a growing sense in the chamber that they stood at the beginning of a new era. Humanity had changed the galactic landscape forever. Some men looked out at the stars, thinking of the massive guardianship out there. He realized that the future of the galaxy might depend on understanding and working with these strange, complex beings called humans. The truth had been uncovered. Now, the real work of building trust and cooperation would begin. The days following the revelations about Earth's true capabilities were tense. The Galactic Council was split, with some members pushing for immediate action against Earth, while others argued for caution and peaceful negotiations. In a private meeting room, High Counselor Sungmin sat with a small group of key representatives. The atmosphere was heavy with worry and disagreement. Grix, the Volturian, slammed his scaly fist on the table. We cannot allow this to continue. The humans have lied to us from the beginning. They are a threat to galactic peace. Lyra, the Aetherian, shook her head. Violence is not the answer. We must give diplomacy a chance. The humans have offered to share their technology with us. Kale, the Zarthan, looked troubled. But can we trust them? What if this is all part of a larger plan to dominate the galaxy? As the arguments grew heated, Sung Min raised his hand for silence. We must consider all options carefully, he said. A wrong move now could lead to a war that would devastate the entire galaxy. Meanwhile, in another part of the council headquarters, Ambassador Hai Jin was working tirelessly. She moved from meeting to meeting, explaining Earth's position, answering questions, and trying to build trust. In one such meeting, she faced a group of skeptical representatives from smaller galactic nations. But why should we believe you now? Asked a representative from a planet called Neros. You've hidden your true strength from us all this time. Hai Jin took a deep breath. I understand your concerns. We made mistakes in how we approached galactic relations, but now we're committed to full transparency. We want to be partners, not threats. As she spoke, her communicator beeped urgently. She excused herself and stepped out of the room. The message she received made her heart sink. Back on Earth, a group of hardline politicians had seized on the galactic crisis. They were calling for Earth to withdraw from all galactic treaties and take a more aggressive stance. Protests were breaking out in major cities, with some people demanding war and others pleading for peace. Hai Jin knew she had to act fast. She requested an emergency meeting with High Counselor Sung Min. As this was happening, Captain Kita on the Earth's Guardian received troubling news. Some ships from more aggressive council races were moving towards Earth's solar system. They claimed it was just a routine patrol, but Kita sensed trouble. He opened a secure channel to Hai Jin. Ambassador, we may have a problem, he said, his voice tense. If these ships enter our space, some on Earth will see it as an act of war. Hai Jin felt a chill run down her spine. The situation was spiraling out of control. In the council chambers, debates raged on. Some members were now calling for Earth to be isolated, cut off from all galactic trade and communication. Others wanted to send a large military force to keep the peace in Earth's solar system. Sung Min listened to all sides, feeling the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders. He knew that the next few hours would be crucial. As night fell on the galactic capital, Hai Jin paced in her office. She was preparing for the most important speech of her life, a final plea to the council for peace and cooperation. Outside her window, she could see ships coming and going, the usual bustle of the galactic hub. But now it all seemed fragile. One wrong move, one misunderstanding, and all of this could be reduced to ashes in a war that would span the stars. Kita's voice came through her communicator again. Ambassador, Earth is asking for instructions. Do we power up our defenses? Do we prepare for war? Hai Jin closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, there was a new determination in her gaze. No, she said firmly. We came here in peace, and we'll stay true to that. Prepare a message to all Earth ships. We will not be the ones to start a war. As she prepared to face the council one last time, Hai Jin hoped that her words would be enough to pull the galaxy back from the brink of disaster. The next few hours would determine the fate of humanity and the entire galactic community. The Galactic Council chamber was packed. Every seat was filled, and the air buzzed with tension. High Counselor Sung Min called for order, his voice firm but tired after days of endless debates. We have come to a critical moment, he said. The decisions we make today will shape the future of our galaxy. Ambassador Hai Jin of Earth has asked to address the council one last time. All eyes turned to Hai Jin as she walked to the center of the chamber. She looked around the room, meeting the gazes of representatives from hundreds of different species. Honored members of the council, she began, her voice clear and strong. I stand before you not just as Earth's ambassador, but as a representative of all humanity. We came to the stars with hope, but also with fear. Our history is filled with conflict, but also with incredible acts of cooperation and kindness. She paused, letting her words sink in. We built the Guardian and other ships like it because we were afraid. Afraid of the unknown, afraid of being defenseless in a vast and potentially dangerous galaxy. But that fear also pushed us to make incredible advances in technology. Hai-Jin's eyes shone with passion as she continued. Now, we offer those advances to you. Not as a bribe or a threat, but as a gesture of friendship. We want to be part of this galactic community. We want to learn from you, trade with you, grow with you. The chamber was silent, every being hanging on her words. Yes, we have powerful ships. Yes, we have advanced technology. But what we want most is peace. We are willing to put our ships under joint galactic command. We are ready to share our advancements, from faster-than-light communication to advanced medical techniques that could save countless lives across the galaxy. As Hai-Jin spoke, something remarkable began to happen. The tension in the room started to ease. Faces that had been suspicious or angry began to show curiosity and hope. We are not perfect, Hai-Jin said softly. We have made mistakes, but we are willing to learn, to grow, to be better. All we ask is for a chance to prove ourselves as worthy members of this galactic family. As she finished speaking, the chamber erupted in a mix of voices. But this time, it wasn't angry shouts. It was excited discussion, curious questions, even some cheers. High Counselor Sung Min raised his hands for quiet. We have heard the words of Earth, he said. Now we must decide. The voting process took hours. Every member of the council had their say. As the final votes were tallied, a hush fell over the chamber. Sung Min stood, his face solemn. The council has decided, he announced. By a clear majority, we vote to accept Earth as a full member of the galactic community. We will work together to integrate human technology and knowledge for the benefit of all. Cheers filled the chamber. Hai-Jin felt tears in her eyes as representatives from different species came to shake her hand or offer their own forms of congratulations. In the following weeks, a flurry of activity swept across the galaxy. The Earth's Guardian and other human ships joined a new joint galactic defense force. Human scientists began working with alien counterparts, sharing knowledge and making new discoveries. There were challenges, of course. Some still distrusted the humans, and Earth had to navigate complex galactic politics. But step by step, day by day, humans and aliens learned to work together. A year after the crisis, Hai-Jin stood on the observation deck of a new station orbiting Earth. Beside her was High Counselor Sung Min, visiting for a diplomatic conference. They watched as ships from dozens of different species flew past, trading, exploring, and working together. It's beautiful, isn't it? Hai-Jin said softly. Sung Min nodded. Indeed it is. We feared your warship would bring destruction. Instead, it opened the door to a new era of cooperation. As they looked out at the stars, both felt a sense of hope. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and now, thanks to understanding and diplomacy, humanity had found its place among the stars. The threat of Earth's warship had shaken the Galactic Council, but in the end, it had led to something greater than anyone could have imagined. A truly united galaxy, ready to face the future together.